RT America has a tiny audience in the United States. That according to Assistant Secretary of State Victoria Nuland, who was speaking at the Brookings Institute. Nuland was asked about whether or not RT should be shut down. For her part, she said no, then went on to talk about how insignificant RT actually is. The only problem, if RT America is so insignificant, why does the State Department keep talking about it? RT correspondent Gayenye Chechekyan reports.
Victoria Nuland was asked whether RT ought to be shut down. Jill Doherty, who asked the question, noted that RT is watched a lot in the U.S. and that it is getting a lot of attention. Victoria Nuland responded by saying that the channel should not be shut down because of freedom of speech in the U.S., but then she went on to say this.
We believe in freedom of speech, freedom of media in this country. I think it's, you know, all you have to do is look at RT's tiny audience in the United States to understand what happens when you broadcast untruths in a media space that is full of dynamic, truthful opinion.
Well, about the tiny audience, global information and measurement company Nielsen said within last year, RT's weekly audience in 7 of the largest U.S. cities has doubled. RT has outperformed all other international media in the U.S. According to the study, almost 3 million people in these cities tune in to RT every week. Not to mention the fact that RT is the #1 news source on YouTube with over 2 billion views. We've been getting a lot of attention, and not just from our viewers.
The propaganda bullhorn that is the state-sponsored Russia Today program has been deployed to promote, actually Russia Today Network has deployed to promote President Putin's fantasy about what is playing out on the ground.
We are in an information war, and we are losing that war. I'll be very blunt in my assessment. The Russians have opened up an English language network. I've seen it in a few countries, and it's quite instructive.
We can't allow ourselves to be out-communicated by our enemies.
Victoria Nuland's comments come just days after the head of the Broadcasting Board of Governors, the agency that oversees U.S. state media, put RT at the top of his challenge list before the Islamic State and Boko Haram. The State Department said they would not put RT in the same category, but RT does present a challenge for the U.S. government. So we are confused. How can RT be a challenge if it has such a tiny audience?
Well, by the way, Victoria Nuland, you might remember, made headlines over the summer when talking on a phone conversation. It was recorded about Ukraine and the EU, and she said this.
I can't remember if I told you this or if I only told Washington this, that when I talked to Jeff Feltman this morning, he had a new name for the UN guy, Robert Seri. Did I write you that this morning?
Yeah, okay. I saw that.
He's now gotten both Seri and Ban Ki-moon to agree that Seri could come in Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
So that would be great, I think, to help glue this thing and have the UN help glue it. And, you know, f*** the EU.